Hello, everyone. Today, my topic is going to be about homeless rates, and the death rates of homeless people as well. How many of you can drive through your city and see maybe one or two homeless people either once a day or once out the week? I don't know about you guys, but I see at least two homeless people here in my city, in my state. And as I was doing my research for this topic, I just found out and I just realized that there is 5,000 homeless people here in Faulkner County, Arkansas. 5,000. And it's just because I guess it shocked me because I don't see too many of them, which means there's a lot of them probably, in abandoned houses and things of that nature. But I just wanted to, let you be aware of the fact that there is a lot of homeless people out here and the rates are going up. Did you know, quote unquote, that the homeless death rate is 6 times more than the average death rate, just in general, altogether? 6 times. 6 times. I want to let you just think on that for a moment. If you think of what the death rates are just in general here in the United States, just ponder on that. 6 times larger than the average death rates. They're just in general murder rates and things of that nature. Crazy, right? But quote unquote, once again, among men using the single shelters that are in New York, I'm speaking of New York, they have the largest portion of the death rates, which is based off of overuse and misuse of substances. Such as, when I say substances, I mean substances as meth, you have crack cocaine, pure cocaine, all kinds of drugs that they can shoot up in them, that they can inhale, that they can smoke. This here comes from, that's what those death rates are. When you have so many people, you hear so many people say, well, they overdose. And 9 times out of 10, that person was going through something in their life to cause them to get to that point. But I'm going to touch on that in a second. Now, women-wise, the death for the number one cause for the death in homeless women is HIV and AIDS. Now, it's not so much part of my subject, but I do want to inform you that there's a lot of homeless women out here that are being raped. So that there is very important. Like that is another reason there on why we should be working as a union to get these people a safe place to lay their head where they don't have to worry about being murdered or being raped and abused. There is so much of this going on here in this world, and it makes these homeless people more vulnerable to what is going on, that we are able to go into our safe home, our safe haven, and be protected from this. Another thing that I wanted to let you know, just here in New York, in the United States, here in New York alone, quote unquote, there is 35,000 homeless people in New York. 35,000. That is a really large number. When you think of Arkansas, here in Faulkner County, there is only 5,000 homeless people. And then you multiply that. It's crazy. It's crazy when you multiply that by 7 times. That's 7 times larger in New York. That is a lot of people. That is a lot of homeless people that are going without, that don't have anything. They don't have anything to run to be their shelters. I just want that to sink in for you for a minute. And I'm going to skip to another country. In Europe. In Europe, there are 400,000 homeless people. 400,000. Now let that there sink in for a minute. You have there in New York, there's 35. And then you have there in Europe that there's 400,000. 400,000. That there is including children, the whole families that are living in poverty, who don't have much. They're not protected through or by all of this stuff that goes on that I was just talking about. And not to mention, it's so odd for Europe to have 400,000 homeless people, because Europe is, quote unquote, labeled one of the highest income countries in the world. One of the highest income countries in the world. That is crazy, right? That is really crazy for it to be that many. A lot of the reasons for the homeless people in Europe are from poverty, family problems, divorce, mental health, and substance misuse. A lot of their problems that do relate to here in the United States. We do have a lot of, both of those going on, all of those going on over here as well. But it's just that the number is just greater than it is here. According to resources, they have categorized into 3 categories. They have categorized different levels to being homeless, or the labels of homelessness. You have chronic homelessness, which is you've been consistently homeless for 1 or 2 more years, or you've been homeless for four times in a consecutive or a previous 2 years prior to you being homeless right now. That there is chronic homelessness. Then you have intermittent homelessness, which is also also described as, it's also described as individual jumping from one place to another. It's a cycle of homelessness where they go from being in jail to back out on the streets, and then they go back to jail. Or when you see someone in rehab, and then they go back to rehab because they have nowhere to go. And then you have crisis homelessness, which is the most common. And it's the most common because crisis homelessness is it's described as more so of, I lost my job, so I don't have nowhere to go, which is one of the very most common reasons why a lot of homelessness starts. Then you have divorce, and then you have eviction. Those three there are the top three reasons why the crisis homelessness is in effect now. There is so much that we have to do as a union to make this here, this number decrease? With me just telling you 400,000 in Europe are homeless and 35,000 there in New York and 5,000 homeless here in Conway, Arkansas, which is also a retirement state. I do want to point that out. That there is 440,000 homeless people. Let that number sink in. 440,000 people homeless from 3 different locations. That there isn't including other countries, other states here in the United States. The moral to my speech is, everyone, I want you to be able to take and place yourself in these people's shoes. If you were to be homeless today, which category would you fall in? Would you fall in crisis homelessness, intermittent homelessness, or would you fall under chronic homelessness? Thank you all.